It's like, so yes, there are some ways we should be thinking, but at the end of the day, it's a tool for us to use, and it's designed that way. And so let's figure out how to use the tool in the right places at the right times. But it isn't necessarily like it's nothing more than a tool.
So to stick with your analogy, your perspective would be that, yeah, the hammer might become a nail gun, but it's not going to become a dictator.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. Just like we talk about AI tools all the time, but I've never thought of it as just like it's another thing in the box. I mean, I use it that way, but I've never connected those dots in my head before.
And it's really amazing that it can goal seek. And that's a really powerful thing. Like that's one of the first examples we've seen in technology of doing that, where you say, this is where I'm trying to go. How would I get there? And it gives you a path. That's awesome. But again, that's a tool. And we have advisors and people that help us think that way through now. Mm-hmm. It's doing the same thing. And that's actually how I use it. Is I'll come in and I'll go like, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. Act as a business consultant. Mm-hmm. Here's the context of what I'm dealing with. Chart me a path there. And about 80% of what it gives me is really good. About 20% of it's crap.
Yep.
But
so how do you separate the wheat from the chaff in that scenario?
But that's where humans come in, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we say, some people call it human in the loop. Some people just call it common sense. Like you ask a tool a question about how you want to get here. You give it the context. It gives you a result back. Common sense says, I'm responsible for my actions. I should read through it and decide which of these things I want to take. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that's how AI should be used, is to say, here's what we're trying to accomplish. Let it help me as much as it can, because I don't want to do that busy work. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately my decision to say, oh, do these 3 things and let's move forward. And that's where I think AI is really powerful. And that's how I think you should be using it. Yes, there are agents, and the agents are making some of those decisions for you. But at the end of the day, even all the agents right now are still coming to you and going, here's what I think should happen based upon all of the iterations that I went through to determine which would be the best option. Mm-hmm. What do you think? It's still your decision.
Yeah. So that's in prompt engineering, that'd be the refinement step, right? Yeah. You take it back and you're like, yeah, we're close. Let's give you some more input so that you can then get us closer.
Let's refine what's going on so you can tweak your outputs and make sure you're a little more, make sure that you understand the nuance of what I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. And again, will it eventually be able to intuit my what I want? Maybe. Some of the coding tools are pretty interesting. I had a funny moment the other day. I was working with an engineer, one of my engineers, and we were talking out loud about the way we needed to solve a problem. And I had used a phrase around a specific kind of technology. It was what's called a strategy pattern inside of software development. And so I talked out that phrase with him. And then I went into my AI development environment and I went to start to build the code with him on the screen with me. And so I typed the first character, I said public space, and it said implement strategy pattern for, it was like, how did it know that? like, and so there are times where it's like, it really intuits some things, but it's predictive math. Mm-hmm. So it sees patterns and it predicts it.
It's kind of like the opposite of autofill in text messaging. Where it seems to always predict the wrong thing that I'm trying to say. You talked about AI as a strategy and how it's more of a tool. Mm-hmm. And that brought a whole different perspective to me than what I walked into this room this morning with. And one of the questions I was going to ask you was, what would you say to a leader who's waiting for AI to be perfected or more understood or just more widely adopted before jumping in and starting to tinker with how it would fit into their organization? And you've already kind of alluded to, well, treat it as a tool, not a strategy, is a really good first thought. But what else would you have to say on that?
With any creative endeavor, the first couple of attempts you have at interacting with it are going to be failures. That's one of the as an entrepreneur, you learn that really quickly. Is you go to market, you get feedback, you figure out how to adjust the feedback to move forward. When you build a product, one of the mantras is, if you're not embarrassed by the first release of your product, you released it too late. So the idea is engage it, get it engaged with, and get the feedback. If you're waiting for AI to be perfect, what you're you're not being safe. What you're doing is not understanding the implications. So you're not engaging it to learn what it actually can and can't do within your organization that is effective, so that you can create good policies and strategies around it. Abstaining from it entirely is just putting you behind, and because it is a very powerful tool. One of the more powerful tools that has come about in the last 50 years. And so as a result of that, you need to start the conversations with it, because you need to learn what it can and can't do, so you can be intelligent about the way that you would and interweave it into your business. So my first feeling is just start using it. Like, I think it's Jeff Woods. I can't remember the name of the book off the top of my head. I Thought Partner, or I Thought Leader, I think is the name of the book. But he says in there, like, bring it to the table, like have it, like it needs to be in all of your conversations. Like, and so when you sit down, the first thing you should do is say, hey, this is my thought partner. Here's what I'm trying to do. Give me your feedback. You don't have to use it, but just start there. Like, start to see the way it's reasoning. Start to see the thoughts that it's bringing up. One of the things I like to do with it is we just got a round of investment. So I now have some board members. And it's like, as I'm sitting down and figuring out how I'm going to start communicating some of the things, I say, hey, here are the personas of my board members. Tell me how person A is going to respond to this. Give me the feedback that you think they would give me based upon the way that we've interacted in the past. And it's pretty darn accurate. I also use it on the sales side. Again, just as a thought partner, I was going into a multi-billion-dollar retailer and about to talk to their CEO and executive team. And we'd not done anything in retail. So I said, hey, this is the background. This is what I'm getting into. Act as an executive sales coach and tell me the top 3 things that you think they're going to bring up. So it pulled up 3 of them. Within the first 10 minutes of the conversation, they raised all 3 of those issues. I was at least prepared. And so I now at least could proactively have a conversation with them about it. So that's where I mean, like, just bring it into the room and start having the conversations, because if you're not, you're not learning what it can and can't do. You're not learning how to apply it. And as a result, then you're going to fall behind on that. And I don't say that as out of fear, like, cause I don't believe in the fear-based approach to AI. It's like, oh, everyone's doing this again, so I'm going to fall behind and I'm going to be unable to catch up with them. No, it's not the fall behind as in like my competitors are going to pass me by. It's that there are opportunities you're missing because you don't understand the technology tools that you have available at your disposal right now that are really cheap. And it's fear that's keeping you from engaging that. And that's what I say. Let's get in there.